What were the malevolent acts of enphoso? One time, I was a baby glaggle. I was enjoying my reading, but then something caught my eye. Breaking news. Enphoso is being evil again. I asked Grandpa if this was about his time in Blibble's field back in 22, and he said this.
Couple million years ago, the enphoso. The enphoso was a large storm created by enphoso back during paleoglag times that lasted for centuries. Its main purpose was to eradicate the paleoglags, along with any potential deity that might get caught up in the storm. The enphoso was a massive hurricane that flooded Glagworld with enphosian goo, drowning many paleoglags and converting many others into stormwalkers. The enphoso is widely regarded to be the first ever attack on glagkind by enphoso and initiating the battle between glaggles and enphosians. It is considered the end of the Antipercellan period of glaggle history and the last great mass extinction event. Pre-enphoso. Before the enphoso, paleoglags and enphoso were on good terms with each other. So what happened? Well, enphoso, despite being a prominent figure in Glagon at the time, was slowly overshadowed by the peripheral glag, who dedicated more of his time to the paleoglags, helping them learn, evolve, and grow into a great species. The paleoglag started focusing on the peripheral glag more, praising him, and ignoring enphoso. Enphoso grew angry over the many years. The more people that forgot about him, the worse he felt. So he felt the need to do something. Instead of trying to help paleoglags the same way the peripheral glag did, he decided they needed to be punished. So he gathered his remaining followers, manipulating them into worshipping him and hating the ones who don't. These followers then went on to, with the help of enphoso and enphosian goo, evolve into the first known enphosians. Enphoso then started coming up with ideas, a mass extinction event that would be able to kill off the paleoglags. After a while of thinking, he thought a storm would be a good idea. After all, it did have the potential to flood the entire glag world. Along with the strong winds being able to destroy their cities with the enphosian goo, floods weren't enough. So he began to manifest the enphoso. First few days, when the enphoso first hit the glag world, many paleoglags were caught off guard. The sudden rainstorm of enphosian goo infecting countless paleoglags, converting them into stormwalkers. The enphosians were sheltered in the eye of the storm and began to build a large empire known as the Emphotic Empire, the beginning phases of Enphosius. The enphoso would begin to grow in size, quickly covering the entire glag world, shrouding it in darkness. Oceans, rivers, and other bodies of water became infected with goo, meaning food and water was extremely scarce for paleoglags. The paleoglag population went from millions to thousands in weeks. The paleoglags who remained safe, the initial attack's worries were only just beginning though. They had no homes, nothing to eat or drink. Many fled underground to hide from the floods, the rain, the enphosians and stormwalkers, and enphoso himself. Even the peripheral glag himself was no different than the paleoglags, confused and scared too, being powerless against the storm. The storm only gotten worse. The sun was entirely blocked out. Temperatures dropped drastically, and the enphosian goo flooding has only gotten worse. Some lucky paleoglags were able to get a sufficient food and water source underground and built mini cave towns, typically in groups up to 15. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't outlast the storm, no matter how many months passed, and they were still being actively hunted down. The enphoso age. The enphoso never seemed to die down. The glag world was still shrouded in darkness, and enphosian goo still flooding the surface. The paleoglag population severely decreased, with only few survivors living in small camps deep below the surface, struggling to find food and water. The Emphotic Empire, along with the enphosian population, grew and ruled the world with the assistance of enphoso. Years turned to centuries, and things only seemed to have gotten worse. The paleoglags, after generations of living in caves to seek shelter from the flooding, developed and adapted to the bleak conditions. Underground cities were developed, solid food sources were set up, and some of the more adapted groups were able to find ways to map the surface. This didn't come without its downsides, though. Many strange and scary fauna under the control of the enphosians evolved to adapt to the enphoso, causing more problems. Enphosians started explored caves to locate and eradicate surviving civilizations. As paleoglags started to familiarize themselves with the surface again, they faced many challenges, the biggest being navigation. This was solved with paleoglags making ships to sail across the ocean of enphosian goo safely, without becoming stormwalkers. They also had to deal with rain, fast-moving floods, and worst of all, enphosians. It seemed as if enphosians had eyes all across the glag world, and for the most part, they did. Anytime paleoglags would attempt to explore the surface, they would often get attacked, most of the time by stray stormwalkers. Despite enphoso's efforts, Glagon believers still started worshipping the peripheral Glag. After the events of the enphoricane, enphoso had full control over Glagworld for nearly 200 years, with enphosians being the dominant species and actively hunting down any Glaggles. This period was rather bleak, and things seemed to have never changed, meaning, as far as anyone knew, enphoso would remain in control forever. However, as time went on, there were countless cases of enphosians who have changed their minds and attempted to assist Glaggles, betraying enphoso. These enphosians never got too far, however, either being tracked and killed by other enphosians or killed by Glaggles out of mistrust. These occasions were rare and minor, so nothing that enphoso had to worry about. After many years, enphoso's rule over Glagworld started to weaken due to Glaggles advancing in technology. This caused enphoso to become more desperate to hunt down and kill any Glaggle civilizations. He started ordering the enphosians to do everything they can to cause Glaggles to not only die, but suffer. Enphoso was growing angrier. After several years of this going on, something strange would happen to enphoso. Most likely due to his increased anger at the time, enphoso's body underwent a change known as the split, which divided him into two people, being enphoso still and unphoso. This caused his power to be split in half, with half of it staying, the other half going to unphoso. Almost instantly after that, unphoso would begin to assist the Glaggles, acting as essentially the opposite of enphoso. Despite her friendliness, she wasn't initially trusted by Glaggles due to her emphotic origins. Enphosians, however, took note of her, and the more friendly ones did everything they could to try and find her, in hopes of being able to become nice and get away from enphoso. Seeing this, unphoso decided to use her powers to transform the enphosians into unphosans. In the 21st century, a noticeable incident in Glaggoland was when a post on the official Glaggoland subreddit labeled with the flare enphoso alert on Candelember 29, 2021, showing a black liquid mass emerge from a leak in the Glaggoland water supply. This black liquid was presumably water infected with enphosian particles that was pumped into the water supply by a sabotaging enphosian servant. In that same time period, two videos were posted about enphoso. One was about the destruction of Gliggleville, which was probably caused by enphoso, and leaked footage of the sinking of the SS Giggletron by enphoso in 1930. On Glagumbi 6, 2022, Giggle official U/The Real Gold Koopa posted a public announcement stating that enphoso was arriving soon, and explaining what this mysterious entity was. Following that announcement, cryptic and foreboding messages counting down the days before enphoso comes were posted. Finally, on the day that was being counted down to, an image was posted by the Real Gold Koopa. It depicted enphoso's crystal prison, with a headline below it stating, quote, "Breaking, enphoso's crystal prison found empty this morning." Sometime after that announcement, a video was posted with the caption "He has arrived," which started off as another post about the rides at Glaggoland, until it shifted to the voice of enphoso threatening Glaggoland to submit, as he had come to conquer the amusement park. However, enphoso's threats were interrupted by the noise of glass shattering, and the video changed to a reply by an unknown Glaggoland official, who compliments enphoso for his efforts. However, at the end of the video, the official imprisons enphoso in Glaggoland as a reward for his dedication, and then explains that Glaggoland has been amputated. The video ends abruptly after the official speech. January 1st of 2022 to January 5th of 2022.
Bye. and you.